I think it's time for another countdown. Ah yes, Splatoon. Love it or hate it, Nintendo's most unique and original third-person shooter doesn't disappoint. With some pretty good weapons, really fun maps, and a ton of customization, it's no wonder this game retains its popularity after a year. However, this list isn't about that. As you've probably guessed from the title already, today we're talking about the maps. Before I do that though, I'm going to lay down a few rules. 1, I'm ranking these maps based on turf war and no other mode, even though I will mention the other modes every now and then. And secondly, this list is my opinion, so you may not agree with it, but please respect it. So without further ado, let's paint the town. I really hate this map. So yeah, Piranha Pit, not a fan. Sure, I like the idea of conveyor belts around the stage, but that's the only thing I like about this stage. Overall, the stage just feels too open, and at the same time, when I play on it, I feel completely exposed. Your head on this map always needs to stay on a consistent swivel, and you always need to do 360s because you can easily be attacked from behind on this map. I consistently get attacked from behind on this map, and the conveyor belts in the middle of this map don't help either, as enemies can use them to wreak havoc on the battlefield rather quickly. It also doesn't help that the only sniping point on either side is quite advantageous and difficult to get to in the hands of a capable enemy sniper. So, yeah. Final score for Piranha Pit? 0 out of 10. Needs more stuff. Oh look! A lovely piece of art on the wall. Too bad I have to ink it. Honestly, this map is still growing on me, but for now, it's at number 15. I really don't mind when Museum d'Alfonsino shows up in the rotation, because it's very different from our last map that we talked about, the Pit of Hell. And yes, I'm going to be referring to the Piranha Pit as the Pit of Hell, because I do not like it whatsoever. Unlike the Pit of Hell, Museum d'Alfonsino takes a better stand on the stage's unique mechanic, or gimmick in this case, and that is the rotating platforms that are thrown throughout the map that me and my friends love to squid party on. You should try it sometime, it's actually really fun. These platforms are used to traverse one side of the map to the other and even ambush players below in the main area of the map. The only issue I have with this map right now is that it's rather open and there's not a lot of cover. However, the use of the slopes in this map can make it great for sloshers and a lot of other weapons. Snipers have a decent time on this map, but it's not as good of a time as other weapons on this map, like sloshers and rollers. Rollers probably have the best advantage on this map. However, if you're not careful, a lot of the weapons on this map can be an absolute nightmare to deal with, but this map still feels balanced enough to benefit all the weapon types. So overall, this map isn't that bad, and that's why it lands at number 15. Initially, this entry was at number 16, but after playing this map some more, I started to really like it. Camp Triggerfish, ladies and gentlemen. Despite being one of the more linear and smaller maps in the game, Camp Triggerfish does not disappoint, as it always is a high-octane battle for control over the camp. With people trying to sneak over to your side by using the graded platforms, it's a huge match of stealth and action at the same time. Dropping killer whales and ink strikes on this map are definitely the keys to success, and even the Kraken has a pretty good use on this map because of this map's linearity. However, that's not the best part, as when you do use the grates and can get over to the other side, it can spell devastation for the other team. Now, with the use of these grates, there is a huge trade-off. As I said before, it is a huge match of stealth. However, if you get caught trying to sneak over the grates, you will more than likely be put out of the action very quickly because they found you coming over the grates. Therefore, you have to be really careful and time when you move over to the other side rather quickly. However, that's not the best part of this map. The best part of this map is when the clock reaches 1 minute and the gates on either sides of the spawn drop. When this happens, this gives both teams access to a certain area of the map they were not able to reach before. Usually, at this point, it is covered by the enemy's ink. Therefore, it allows us as a team, or it allows any player as a team, to easily ink some enemy turf and try and get to the enemy side. This is where the huge high-octane action comes in this map in the last minute, as it's always frantic and is always one of the best maps to play. So, yeah, Camp Triggerfish, because of these reasons, locks its spot at number 14. Just don't be this guy. I would say this next map is too sniper friendly, but I use them all the time. Yeah. So, Moray Towers. Some may say it's the most linear map in the game, at number 13. Honestly, you could say that, but I see a lot more in this map than it just being very linear. Sure, there are zigzagging pathways that are absolutely perfect for running down with rollers, and I enjoy running down those with rollers every time I play on this map, but there are also plenty of paths for players to climb up walls and go for sneak attacks on the other team. Just don't end up like me, dying like this. For this map, one sniper, one roller, and a kraken is needed to definitely have a huge advantage on this map, as there's not a lot of room for people to run from the kraken, but there's just enough cover where you need a sniper with good aim to pick off lone players. So overall, it's a fun map, but it's still pretty biased to long-range weapons, which is unfortunate because attempting to use a short-range weapon on this map can actually be rather useful if you know how to play with short-range weapons by using the side paths. But, like I said in the intro segment of this, I use snipers all the time on this map, and it's a little difficult to get past me. So, that's why I locked this map at number 13. I was going to put a pun here, but I really can't think of one. This map feels like a fortress to me, but that's okay. Bookman Depot is one of the maps that I don't mind ever coming up in the rotation because it has not one, but two middles, which makes for some very interesting and unique gameplay. However, because of this interesting and unique gameplay, teams really have two options right off the get-go. They can either all attempt to rush one side, or teams can split into groups of 2 or 3 and 1, or however you want to split them, and try and take both sides at the same time. In order to do that, though, both teams must have a very good sense of teamwork in order to accomplish this. However, before you can even get to the middle, you actually have to work your way top down. This is actually a really good thing because it actually makes spawn camping very difficult to do on this map. However, at the same time, it can be very tricky because if the other team tries to get up the wall or successfully gets up the wall on your side, you have a war coming for you in your fortress. Having sprinklers and ink strikes on this map are really the way to go on it, and may someone ever help you. May the odds ever be in your favor. If someone brings a short-range roller, that's hard to get up to the enemy's side with. You are going to have a fun time, and you're probably going to have to clear a path for your teammate instead. However, it's because of this short-range reason that Bookman Depot locks itself at number 12, as this map really isn't friendly to short-range weapons, but more mid-range and long-range weapons. Oh no. It's the anchovies. Anything but the anchovies! This is how you take a unique feature to a map and do it perfectly. Anchovy games like Camp Triggerfish, Piranha Pit, and Museum d'Alfonsino has its own unique mechanic or gimmick that makes the map different from your standard maps. This map utilizes fans in the center and on the sides of the map that allow for travel or even to change the elevation of the battlefield. You'll always find the fans in the center of this map to have the most use, as it allows players to access not only the opponent's side, but it also allows them to get an elevation advantage against the other team. Unfortunately, the drawback to having 2 fans in the center is that it changes the elevation so much that certain teammates can actually get trapped on a wall and be splatted. It also makes the middle of the map smaller at the exact same time fans are raised. However, that's really the only drawback to this map, and fortunately, ink striking weapons and weapons with an Inkzooka are the way to go on this map, as it's very wide open and ink strikes are always needed to cover a lot of area quickly. So it really just cancels out the negatives on this map, and it's always a great thing. Another thing I should mention is that the centers of the map can actually be scalable. When the fans actually come up out of the ground, on the corners, on one particular corner, the corner that would be facing you on the opposite fan of the opponent's team, there is actually an inkable surface that you can use to ink your way up. So say an opponent is there shooting the fan and you want to get your way up there, use the corner, sneak around and take them out, or rise up, take them out, and jump to the other side very quickly. It's a very unique mechanic, and I enjoy this map every time it comes up in the rotation, and that's why it locks its spot at number 11. Hey, there's no need to get salty now if one of your favorite maps is on this list. We're in the top 10 maps, so let's get started, starting with this one. Salt Spray Rig has to be one of the more interesting maps in the game because unlike other maps, the spawns on this map start essentially on the same side. Teams actually have to work their way up to the center, which is large and has lots of cover. That is where most of the action is going to be. However, on the other side of the map, it's the exact opposite. Rather than being large and having lots of cover, it is smaller and has one box full of cover, but it leads to some very interesting strategies, as you can entirely take the lower section and still win a game, not having to worry about the upper section. The enemy spawn is actually impossible to reach, making spawn camping absolutely null and void on this map, which is fantastic because there's always that issue where you're going to have one map where there is a spawn camper. In addition to this, using blasters, rollers, and standard shooters are the best weapons on the map, along with using some ink strike weapons, splash walls, and bomb rushes, as those are going to cover the most ground and be the most useful for you. Every map essentially can use ink strike the most, however there is one map where you really don't want to use it at all. And that's why Salt Spray Rig locks itself in our number 10 spot. This map is definitely the definition of solid for me. Arowana Mall. Where to begin? Oh, I know. How about the way the map looks? Arowana Mall, despite having one of the more linear designs, is actually a really well crafted map. With smooth ramps and transitions, it's very easy to move about this map very quickly. There are sniping posts on either side which benefit the long range players, while shorter range players can keep it fast and furious on the ground. It's relatively easy to get on the other team's side by using these quote unquote secret alleys to your advantage. However, you can further improve your advantage by using the effect of the Squid Beacon and Krakens. Almost every special is good on this map, except for Seeker Rush because it's very linear and Seekers don't go very far on this map. However, the one downside of this map is that one wrong move can spell entire devastation for your side. So, it's always better to have a good sniper on your team, and it's definitely always a benefit to have someone that has Squid Beacons, as this is going to be a huge importance for you to win most of the maps. However, even though this map is kind of easy to spawn camp and one move can spell devastation, it doesn't stop this map from being a really good map. You can really have some very interesting battles on this map. I've won games by 0.1 or 0.2 on this map because it's very intense in the center of the map where everything kind of collides into one. So that's what locks it at our number 9 spot. This next map is the big daddy to a map we're going to talk about later. Urchin Underpass. I really like this map for a few reasons. The first reason is because of its size. It's massive, so there's plenty of turf to ink and not a single time where you won't find a spot to not ink. Secondly, this map really isn't biased toward any weapon type, and any weapon can truly be effective on this map. And the third reason is there's not a single time on this map that I absolutely hate it. So let's talk about the size. As I've mentioned before, it is a hugely massive map with secret passages on the side, and I use secret as a loose term here because it's not very secret and a lot of players can use it. That can allow you to enter battle. However, there is another path off the spawn that gives snipers a decent sight. It's not great, but it's high ground, and it's another great way to enter the battle. And then there's me, who rushes right through the center of it to enter battle. Why? I feel like a badass while doing it. Oh yeah, I just feel like a badass while doing it. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? I didn't think so. But the main issue I really have with this map is that you either take a large win on it, or you get a devastating loss. It's only going to be one or the other. You're barely going to have any close matches on here. I haven't really had any close matches on here. It's always been a devastating win or a devastating loss, and that's just the way the teams are set up. Spawn camping, once again, is not really an issue on this map, although it can be a problem if your team gets pushed back too far, as it always is with most of these maps. But that's really the only two downsides. Any special is really good on this map, any sub-weapon, and that's why it locked itself at the number 8 spot, just because of the amount of variety it brings to the table. And taking our lucky number 7 spot is Walleye Warehouse. Takes our number 7 spot on this list for one reason and one reason alone. I love using Seeker Rush. In all seriousness though, Walleye Warehouse is a simple map at its core, having a big wide open space in the center of the map, with some crates scattered about, making this map perfect for rollers. However, these crates can also be stood on top of, which makes them very perfect for snipers. Unfortunately for snipers, there's not a lot of cover for them on top of these crates, so the shorter range players can have an advantage against the snipers. So it's great because it doesn't make it biased. Now, snipers are nice to have on this map because they can lock down a certain area. However, they're not required on this map. Ink strikes and bomb rush specials, any form of bomb rush special I should say, especially Seeker Rush, are really effective on this map, and they're recommended for maximum effect as it's very open and a very splat heavy map. So make sure you're prepared with either defensive splash walls, defense up, and attack up on your set, or lots of swim speed if you want to get out of there quickly. However, that's all I can really say about this map, and that's saying something. It's a very good and just balanced map, and I really enjoy it. Now, once again, spawn camping can be a bit of an issue on this map, but if you got a good team, there's no big deal with having spawn camping on this map. As for the next map, though, we're going to take this to a whole new level. You know it's as hot as a greenhouse in here. Don't you deny it. Good old Kelp Dome. Yes, taking our number 6 spot is Kelp Dome, a maze-like map that has a ton of great opportunities to ambush opponents all over the map. In the center of the map, we have raised grates that our squid kids can walk on or drop through in squid form if they run out of ink. However, it's balanced enough where you can actually shoot through these grates and they can shoot you back through the grates, so don't expect it to be very easy. However, if you run out of ink on top of these grates, you are definitely forced to drop into squid form, or you're forced to run away. Just pray there's no one behind you. In the center of this map is a great spot to have a sniper, but it's also great for dropping ink strikes. There's also plenty of cover on this map to make clever use of the swimming mechanic to get behind opponents as well. Unfortunately, the one downside of this map is that you have to keep your head on a swivel because you're very, very likely to get ambushed on this map. Overall, though, Kelp Dome still remains a fun and balanced map every time I play it to this day. And that's why it's at our number 6 spot. We finally hit the top 5 maps, so now it's time to get into the really, really good maps, starting with the map that makes the best use of the swimming mechanic. Flounder Hearts is a map that when I first started playing, I didn't like too much. However, after months of playing, I can say this map has really grown on me to this day. So let's start with the way this map is set up. Flounder Hearts is really the only map in the game that has most of the center high up and off the ground. And much like Bookman Depot, it has not one but 2 centers on the left and right side of the center grate. There are actually many ways to get to this area by either inking your way up a hill, swimming up the walls, or even climbing into a lower section to swim up the walls as well, which makes great use of the swimming mechanic in this game. There are plenty of paths to ambush opponents, and spawn camping isn't that much of an issue on this map either, as the spawns cannot be reached by the other team. Ink strikes and bomb rushes are definitely the weapons to use on this map, and rollers are super useful here as well. The only issue with this map I have is if your opponents know where you're coming up a wall, they will try and stop you. So it's best to have a different strategy every time you get splatted. This map is actually really fun when you get to know how to use it correctly, and overall this map gives players a unique battling experience, and that's why it takes the number 5 spot. This next map combines the powers of the grates and close range combat all into one package. Roll the clips! Hammerhead Bridge, aptly named, looks like a hammerhead shark's head when turned to the side. Not only that, but you're fighting on a bridge that has another bridge on it. And don't you dare think of making a bridgeception joke, or I will find you. And I will kill you. Anyways, aside from how this bridge looks, there's a significant strategy involved when trying to cover as much turf as possible. The middle bridge gives players a great high ground advantage when trying to cover turf, but at the same time leaves players open to attack. Sure, there are little wall sections, but all the walls in the middle of the bridge can be scaled to give your enemies a nasty surprise. On the flip side though, the ground provides excellent cover, but you're exposed from the inklings that may be above you. Luckily, ground to air combat and vice versa can be achieved as players can and will shoot through the grates. Killer whales, ink strikes, and bomb rushes are the best special options on this map, while a well-placed squid beacon or sprinkler can give your team a huge advantage over the competition. This map makes for a great battle experience, and I recommend it to be played across all game modes and not just Turf War. Because of this though, it locks itself in the number 4 spot on our list. You all knew this map was going to be this high on the list. Blackbelly Skatepark, as many know already, is the most hectic map in the game of Splatoon. Being the smallest map in the game, this skatepark is great for pretty much all weapon types. Rollers may struggle on this map because of the uneven slopes and will find it difficult to move about the map freely, but much like the YouTuber Wombu, who's a fan of rollers, even though the slopes are uneven and can make it hard to swim around, that's the point of the map. It's a skatepark, so it will have some uneven or jagged edges. In the center of the map is a tall tower which almost overlooks the entire map, with the exception of a few blind spots. Every single special is beneficial on this map, along with every single sub-weapon, making this a map for the ages. The only downside people really see on this map is, once again, spawn camping, as there's not a lot of places to go from the spawn. This doesn't stop it from being a fantastic map though, and this is what locks it at our number 3 spot. You know how I said earlier Anchovy Games has the best map gimmick? Yeah, I lied. Mahi Mahi Resort is my favorite map by far in the way of map gimmicks in the game of Splatoon. For starters, this map is set up in the largest resort pool I've ever seen in any game. Hell, it's bigger than my yacht in GTA 5. Another really cool thing about this map is everything is really separated from the quote-unquote docks to the main battlefield itself. This leads into some interesting mechanics as you have to jump in squid form to get from one platform to another. Any weapon class really performs well on this map as well, as once again, it's one of the smaller maps. Snipers can take advantage of the elevated perches, whilst rollers and shooters take it hard on the ground. However, once the clock hits a minute 30 seconds in a turf war, the game throws a curveball at you and the water level drops, giving players more turf to ink. In fact, some of the floating platforms move as well. After these platforms drop, most of the map connects itself and it becomes an all-out war to see who can not only ink the extra turf quick enough, but also how quickly you can take over the enemy's turf. As for useful specials on this map, I'd have to say every single special and mostly all sub-weapons, but the squid beacon. And it's because this map is so versatile that it lands itself at our number 2 spot. So far, we've gone over 15 of the 16 maps in Splatoon, and that just leaves us with the number 1 spot. I'm sure by process of elimination, you've already guessed what it is, but first, let's review. Number 16, I hate this map. Number 15, Squid Party. Number 14, I Smell S'mores. Number 13, Sniper Heaven. Number 12, It's Rusty. Number 11, Anchovies. Number 10, The Salty Splatoon. Number 9, Shopping Spree. Number 8, Blackbelly Skatepark's Father. Number 7, Seekerville. Number 6, The Greenhouse. Number 5, Sneaky Sneaky. Number 4, insert Jaws reference here. Number 3, Let's Grind It Up. And number 2, Delfino Plaza. And at the number 1 spot, everybody hates me when I play as a sniper on this map. Roll the clips. Yes, at the number 1 spot, we have Fort Mackerel. But you may be asking, J-Man, why did you pick the simple map? Well, sometimes the simplest map is the best map, and that stands entirely true for this map. Fort Mackerel is the best map for many reasons. For starters, it's the only map in the game that can really benefit from any weapon, sub-weapon, and special weapon. Secondly, the grid-like pattern can make for some fun ambush spots, and it keeps the map very well organized. Thirdly, this is my list and my opinions. And finally, it's the map I enjoy playing any mode on the most, and I look forward to it every time it's in the rotation. However, Fort Mackerel has more to it than that. While playing this map, there are good ambush points on the side of the map in the forms of these slightly higher alleys, which allow players to ambush players if they're having trouble in their spawns or trying to get into their middle. Not only that, but there are also moving forklifts on either side that are great for throwing sprinklers on or having a mobile sniper platform. You can use these forklifts to jump on top of some of the porch crates to place squid beacons for your team as well. Combine this with a good roller, throwing seekers down the alley, or some other form of sub-weapon, and your team can dominate the competition. Overall, playing this map, you'll have one hell of a time, and every minute you play on it, I'm sure you'll enjoy it even further. So with that out of the way, that's it. The countdown is over. I hope you all enjoyed watching, and hopefully I'll see all you squid kids on Splatoon later. Stay safe, everybody.